Yeah, I think we are good. Everybody's here.
What about we need at least 2 more?
Oh yeah, DRC Congo is not here.
Okay. And who else is not here? Nigeria is present, Cameroon, Senegal, Eritrea.
Yeah, we are just waiting for DRC Congo.
Is Morocco here? Yeah, Amsa's here. But if not, as we're waiting, we kind of introduce ourselves. I think just people will just turn on maybe a camera for like literally like a minute. And if you want to turn it off, you can turn it off. Feel free to do so. Just maybe we'll start by introducing ourselves, that we're no longer strangers to one another, but we are brothers who are trying to do great for our communities. And it's very important that we get connected as the African diasporas here in Manitoba, but people who are passionate about the game, but most importantly, people who are passionate about the community. So I will start off by introducing myself. So my name is Gorika Tembo. For those who know me, I've spoke to some of you, kind of presidents, they say perhaps, of the Canadian, the Manitoba African Cup of Nations. And I'm here to serve. I'm here to help your teams throughout the whole process, whatever you need, resources, strategies. I started as a team manager, as a coach, team manager, whatever. So I do know the struggles and challenges that each and every one of you face in one way or another. So, but again, there's some tips, my 2 cents, ideas. I'm here to help to ensure that your teams are successful, because if your teams are successful in a process of planning, the easier our job becomes here on this site. The better the competition is for everyone, right? So that's me. Seydou, I'll let you introduce yourself. Then we just go, just say your name and maybe if you're the team manager, captain or whatever, so that people know who you are. Will be a nice thing to be on the call once you know, okay, and get connected that way if you want to play friendly games. So Seydou, you can go on.
Yeah, my name is Seydou, and I'm the director of operation for this year's tournament. And yeah, looking forward to the tournament. I'm excited about it.
My name is Michael Osei. Can you guys hear me? Yeah, Michael Osei, and I'm representing Ghana. I'm part of the management team of the Ghana Black Stars. My colleague Abdul might join us later on during the meeting, but for now I am representing Ghana Black Stars.
I am Kumbirai. I'm representing Zimbabwe, and I'm the team manager for Zimbabwe.
Anybody go next? Yeah. Okay, hello. Go ahead.
Yeah, yes. This is Kalab here. I'm one of the representatives of Eritrea, but the coach is here too, so he'll speak.
Okay. Wonderful. Welcome. You can unmute yourself. I think you're muted, brother. You're muted. I see you're trying to speak. Yeah.
This is the coach of Asian team. The first time we joined the team. I'm a coach of Asian team. Thank you.
Hey, welcome. We're glad to have you back in the competition. You're welcome. Welcome. Hey, I'll start picking on people. Ishmael, you came in first, so you go.
My name is Ishmael. I am the assistant coach and / player and the owner of Egypt E&D. And then the head coach is with us. His name is Danny.
Ooh. We got Danny, okay. You're welcome. Welcome. It's a pleasure to have Team Egypt on a call.
And Serge?
Hello, this is Serge from Cameroon, representing Team Cameroon here. How do I do this? Can you hear me?
We can hear you perfectly fine.
Yeah, we heard you.
Yeah, this is Serge from Team Cameroon.
Wonderful, wonderful.
Yeah.
Welcome, welcome.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hamza.
Hello, guys.
Hey.
I'm still working.
It is well. It is well.
Yeah. I doing so good.
Greetings to you, my elder.
Thank you.
Okay.
Saidu here?
Yeah, I'm here. Hamza. Yeah, we are introducing ourselves right now. So, yeah.
I think that was Uncle Mike from
Sudan.
No, Mark from South Sudan.
That's me.
Yes.
Okay, Hamza.
Hey guys, Hamza Moore from representing Morocco. First year, first competition. Good luck, everyone.
Happy to have you.
Thank you.
Zimbabwe.
No, Zimbabwe already represent. You already introduced themselves.
Amadou.
Of course, Mr. Omosa.
Hello, everyone.
Hello there.
Sorry, I cannot turn my camera. I'm driving right now.
No worries.
Yeah, my name is Amadou. I'm the manager of the Senegal team. Yeah, we've been here for quite some time in the competition. So, yeah. We're glad to have it back and looking forward to it.
Great. Abdul.
Hi everyone, my name is Abdul Karim. I'm representing and actually I'm the manager and the founder of LTHFC for Rwanda. This is our second year joining the tournament. Nice to meet all of you.
Hey, welcome, Brother Abdul.
Thank you.
Chama Cedric.
Hi, my chairman. Cedric, representing the Ivorian team. I think this is the third time you're participating.
The elephant. Okay, you're welcome. The defending champions. Always champion every year. Mr. Omosa.
Thank you, good day. My name is Omosa. I'm assistant coach of the Nigerian team. It's 4th year running now. Thank you guys for having us again.
Good to be here.
Nice to meet everybody. Ishmael, why are you smiling?
All right, yeah. I think we have, everybody have introduced themselves, so we're going to jump into the meeting. So go there. Yeah.
Yeah, I will take off. First of all, thank you so much. It's always a great joy when it comes, when it's springtime, May and June. We get to connect with one another again I do understand when it's September to probably March, everybody's busy with school, winter's keeping everybody busy. But it's always good to get connected with people in the community. And I think soccer is that one thing that brings all of us together. We had, as we were planning, we came to a situation where like, okay, we need to meet up. Time is going. The tournament is starting on June 24th. Opening day, Raf Cantafio, all teams are going to play on the same day. We're going to have 2 fields going on. So it's going to be a very busy day for us, busy day for players, for community, and it's going to be a one big day. Now, as we're planning, you know, we wanted to make sure that we get your input, suggestions in ways that we can improve tournament, as well as okay, no, not a problem. Brother Abdul is recording the meeting. I think, is anybody not okay with that? You can turn off your camera if you don't want your face, but if you're fine, it's okay. It's not going to go anywhere that we assume it's wrong. It's Brother Abdul, is one of our members at large. So every year we always strive to seek of ways that we can improve the competition, make it more interesting, making it more entertaining in one way or another, because we want to make sure that we show the rest of the community or the Canadian here in Manitoba that, hey, when there's soccer, we Africans, we know how to, you know, to play, we know how to enjoy the game, but also we bring a different kind of style of play to the soccer community here in Manitoba. So one of it, as we're looking at the tournament, the biggest question, we do have the tournament package. I hope each team have got a chance to go through the tournament package, because it is very, very important. One of the biggest issue and thing we come to every year, people say, oh, we didn't know this. We didn't know that. It's in your tournament package. So please, please take time to review those documents. If you have any questions, ask them ahead of time, not the day of your game. When the game is going on, you're like, oh, we didn't know this. It's not acceptable. It's unprofessional. You can't use that as an excuse, because this information is sent to you guys months ahead, right? So it's very important. So here's our agenda for today's. Okay, we'll talk about the new changes or things that we're hoping to do this year. We'll also have time, kind of a breakout session to get your inputs, some of the things that you're expecting as teams, but also we'll have a bigger decision that we want to take as an organization. But again, we want your input on ways, what you guys think, what are your thoughts, and because we just don't want to decide for you guys. You guys are the one participating in the tournament. We are just organizing. And it's very important that we get some of your input in to make sure that we create that vision that you desire to see in a competition overall. So we'll have that. One of it is the tournament package. Has everybody seen the tournament package? Or is something that we gotta go through, skim through it all together? People have questions about the tournament package. Maybe we'll start that as a starting point. Any questions regarding the tournament package? Things that people don't understand, it's not clear to them, and it's a little bit confused. Please, this is the right time to ask any questions.
Gode, I had a question because I talked to you about it earlier. Should I talk about it now or later on?
Yes, please. Ask the question when everybody's hearing it. So when we answer it, everybody have the same information. We don't want to say, oh, we didn't know this or we didn't know that. So ask your question when everybody can hear it right now.
All right. My question is, the team that I formed is 60% to 70% Africans and 30 to 40% non-Africans. So I went by the rules. I gathered 25 players. I have a couple of Egyptian players, as it was very hard for me to manage them. And I was wondering, is that still played by the rules, or is there a certain amount of non-Africans that can play?
That's a very good question regarding registrations. And I know in the past we have had various restriction rules in regards to who comes in and what kind of players. As we all know that we live in a very mosaic country and very diverse country, it's very challenging. It's very difficult for us to continue putting those borders to say, okay, it has to be this. Of course, we want to keep it as African as much as we can, but some communities have bigger population than others. Team like Team Nigeria can have up to 5 teams, no problem, right? You have teams like Congo can have 3 teams, no problem. And you have some teams that have small communities. It's a challenge to even try to have to have maybe original 22 from their country. And even if they have that 22, sometimes the competition level, all the 22, you may have only 5 good players and everybody else is out of shape. And now you're going to compete with a team like Nigeria. Sorry, I'm keep referring Nigeria because they are the defending champions and you can't compete with them. So in order to increase competition, in order to make sure that every team can compete on the same level, we are lifting up restrictions a little bit. I think we're playing with a 60-40 rule, right? As long as 60% of your whatever, your country is from maybe, so you do your math. If we do the math, out of 22 players, if we say 60% of them, that's, I think, up to 17 players, I think. Let me just do the sorry, I'm bad with math.
So out of 25 is 15.
Yeah, so 15, right? So the other like 15, so out of 25, so as long as 15 of them being whatever from your country, so you can technically have 10 of from anywhere. It doesn't matter, right? Because we want to make sure that also you as teams are recruiting talent, people who are going to add value to your, you know, and some teams are like, no, man, we good. Our community, we have a solid players and we don't need to add anybody. That's totally fine. So, you know, so every team, now you have up to 10 players that are non-African or like outside your country, right? So please recruit wisely, very strategically to ensure that you also have the best team. We don't want to go in a tournament, you're like, oh, Team Egypt has 7 non-African and you start coming and complain. Well, like, well, we told you, you should have used that on your advantage when you're recruiting as well, right? We don't want to run in that case. So please recruit wisely, be very strategic when you're recruiting your players, people that will add value to your team as well.
Because since you're remaining 40, against fish, I need to extend. But there are lots of that the same.
Okay, maybe let's switch the host. Sorry, we're having a link issue. So what we'll do, we'll have Seydou, are you logged into the MSCN Zoom account? Or you are muted.
It's upgraded already.
It's upgraded?
Yeah.
Oh, we are good?
Yeah, we are good. It's upgraded.
Oh, yeah, so Ishmael, did I answer your question? Ishmael, do you have a further comment on your question?
Yeah, I said, yes, you did. So we can have up to 10 players that are, if I have 25 players, I can have up to 10 players that are non-Africans and 15 players that are Africans. All right,
yes,
perfect.
Africans, so all people from your community, right? Yes.
That's perfect.
Yeah. Okay, any other questions regarding the tournament package or any questions that you may have? You say, hey man, I want some clarity on this, whatever. Please, this is the right time to ask these questions, because on the way how we're going to do press conference this year is going to be a little bit different. Just we're going to go there, make a statement, we're going to have some government officials and media, we won't get the opportunity to really answer some of the tough questions on site. So that's a reason why we're trying to have this, this meeting, so that anybody who have questions, you can ask, and then maybe we'll be able to find a solution. Or if you have any comments, this is the right time. If not, if you don't have any questions about the tournament package, we can move on the next thing on our agenda.
I have a question.
Yes.
About the field, right? It's going to be a hot summer. So I was, my question was, is that like a way we can have them to water the field, like in halftime?
That's a very good question. That's something that we can reach out. You forgot to introduce yourself. Some know you, some don't know you. I think it's important that you introduce yourself.
Come on, man. I think everybody know me here. Oh, my name is Didi. I'm representing the Fimbo FC. I'm the head coach.
Team Congo, right?
Team Congo.
Okay, wonderful. That's a very good question. It's going to be really hot. Maybe that's a note that we can ask. I do know, tough field, man. July, August, feel like your boots are burning off. So maybe that's something that we can ask. But you have seen it being done before, right? I think at Raf Kantasio it would be doable, but at Shaughnessy, because they don't have like actually a facility, it may be a little bit difficult. Right. But I think at Raf Kantasio, that's, if it has been done before, we can put in that request.
That sounds good.
Any questions?
Okay. Samuel is in the waiting room.
Miriam, if you don't mind. Okay. If there's no other questions, maybe I will share my screen here and go skim through certain things really quick. You can see this screen. Some of you, again, I'm just going to go through tournament kickoff day, June 24th to August 19th. Games are expected to play every Saturday and Sunday. Every Saturday and Sunday, our two main fields are going to be Raf Kantasio and Shaughnessy. 90 minutes games, 11v11. Pardon me?
Hey, Mark, I just have a question.
Yes, please.
On the link that you have sent out, you're requesting 2 people from each team for the official meeting of today. Is that right? I don't know. I gave you the name of one of the guy who coached last year. His name is David Lado. I don't know if he's in the meeting or he didn't make it in. Or did Saidu send him the links? Or I'm not really sure, because I'm in the meetings and I'm in and out. I'm at work now. I'm in and out, so I couldn't catch up all the agendas, and so that's why I want to make sure if he's in the meeting, concentrating with the meeting, so that I can get what we are discussing later on from him.
Yeah, Mark. Yeah, sorry, it's my apologies. Yeah, I don't think I reached out to him, but I have his number, so I only reach out to you. So yeah, it's my bad. I didn't send him the link, but I send him all the documents that I'm sending to every team, but I didn't send him the link for the meeting.
Are you able to ask him if he can join? Maybe if he's still available. If not, we sincerely apologize.
I text him that we are in the meeting if he can join, but you can still send him the link so that he can join the meeting.
Yeah. Sadie, can you please do that?
Okay. Let me see.
Thanks.
And I'm sorry for interruption. I'm still at work, so I will just mute myself and listen to you guys. If I don't have a question, I think that I will go with the rest of the colleagues that are in the meetings. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, wonderful. Thank you so much, Uncle Mike.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll continue to share my screen just to go just very quick through the tournament again. Here it is, expected June 24th is the opening day, rough Canterville. We do have our first prize, second prize. Of course, our silver second place, third place game will be played on the day before the finals, golden boot, golden gloves, tournament MVP, man of the match every single year. This is something that we got a feedback from last year to make sure that we have man of the match. It will not be an excuse for us not to have it this year. Mr. Cedric will make sure we have included that to make sure that we honor those players that are outstanding every single game. So games every 2 weeks. Now, there's a new rule that we came up based on some of the things that we saw last year and challenges. What we need is every coach. We're not asking for your license. Some of you have license, but the respect in sports training. It's only 2 hours. It's good for you if you are trying to be a coach anywhere. It's a simple 2 hours. It's free at charge. We do request, if any of you are going to sit on a bench as coaches, we do require to have that training, because we saw some abuse, exchange of words, that it didn't look too professional, especially from the coach point of views. We have elders, we have government officials coming to attend some of these events. The last thing we want to see is the head coach of Congo exchanging words with the head coach of maybe Egypt. It doesn't look professional. You guys are leaders in your communities, and whatever you do as coaches, your players will follow along. So you as a coach, if you are the first one starts passing and throwing punches, what do you expect the rest of your players to do? To do 10 times worse. So it's a simple thing. As we're developing the game, as we're developing the tournament, it's a basic thing that we just require. The 2 hours, it's a module. Like, you can do it at your own time. It's not like, oh, you have to go somewhere to do a training. No, you can do it literally on your computer for just 2 hours and it's done. You gain new knowledge. You know, when people know better, in my philosophy, they do better. So that would be a requirement for coaches that are sitting on a bench, right? If a coach does not have that, unfortunately, we will not allow them to sit on a bench.
So I have a question on that. So would the organization have to, you're requiring
Can you mute yourself, Mr. Amadi? Okay, unmute him. Brother Michael, go ahead.
So how would you enforce it? Do you require the proof of the licensing before the tournament starts?
Absolutely. Yeah, that's what we'll do.
Okay.
Yeah.
And is it for the whole, because I know some teams have not just one coach, but like a technical team, maybe a coach, an assistant coach, and maybe somebody else who helps out with the organization. Is it like the whole bench itself has to have the license, or just the head coach?
Seydou.
Yeah, it's just the head coaches. The players the players at the bench don't need to take that course. It's just the coaches that we require them to take. If you have 3 technical coaches on the bench, they all have to take it and send us a copy. Then you also have a copy.
Yeah, because we just want to expect professionalism, right? So, and we are starting, right? The higher you go up, the higher you play up in a competition university, they require you to do that as a player, drug tests and all these things and all of this, but we're not expecting that. But also it brings quality to the game. When the coaches know better, when they know how to respect each other, I think respect is something that we all deserve, especially as, you know, you don't want a team of the other players start exchanging words with coaches and things. It doesn't look good. Yeah, again, size 5 soccer ball, and all these rules. Some of you guys already play Premier here and they play on a professional 25-team roster on each squad communication, please. When we send,
can I have a question, please? Sorry, before we head into the more details, just about the scheduling there. You mentioned games are played every 2 weeks. Is that what I heard? Every 2 weeks?
No, every weekend.
Every weekend.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's one game expected every weekend.
One game expected. So it's either Saturday or Sunday. Is there any times like? Do we have the fields only like during a certain time, or could it be like the night as well? Do you know?
So the fields, most of our games are going to be between 3 p.m. and 10 p.m.
3 p.m. and 10 p.m. Okay.
Yes, so that's the time like frame, right? Saturday. So hopefully people can start planning the schedule ahead. We're planning to release it as soon as we can. June 3rd is this Saturday is our press conference, and we'll be able to release everything to you guys. So if people need to start changing some things around their work schedule, at least they will have almost a month of a notice to their employees. So we don't want to leave it on the last minute to say, hey, now you're playing. No, we like teams to know who they are playing, what time they are playing, the location, at least a month ahead, right? So that people know.
Are we going to have games during the long weekend? The July long weekend?
According to our schedule and time, which is July Canada Day, we will not have that weekend in August 5th, unfortunately, just due to the, to arrangement of the field, but also understanding that some people may be away out of the city. So that's a accommodation that we have made this year. And I think you should still fit in our schedule to finish in a time frame. That's the reason why we decided to start June 24th. Ideally, most day we start on that weekend of July. So, guys, so you know, if you want to do something on maybe July Canada Day or like August 5th, which is 4th and 5th, which is a long weekend, gives you guys a break.
I just had one request, Cody, for the games. On Saturday, for Team Egypt, on Saturday, we are fine to play anytime, but we wanted to request something for Sunday. Could we play after 6 p.m.? Because our whole team play in a really high level. So some of us have practiced with Lions. Some of us have practiced with Saints. Some of us have practiced with Ellis and FC Manitoba and all these type of things. So we would like to play after 6 for Sundays. Saturday anytime, Sunday after 6, if possible.
That's something we'll have to review on. I cannot promise that. I can guarantee that for one or following reason, because we want to be fair to all the teams. Nobody want to play on a tough field at 3 p.m. Like, honestly, like that's one. And also all the teams also have very committed players, just like you mentioned on Premier, FC Manitoba, and so on, right? So the draft day, which is going to be the day, like we can try to make accommodation, but things like that, it is very difficult. We have things like a funeral, right? Funeral is something outside our control. Something happened in the community. It's outside our control. But things like that, it's a little bit difficult for us to really make those accommodations up front, because Team Nigeria, half of the team play Premier, right? They also probably want the same thing. Congo, same thing, and other teams. So if we are going to do that, it's really going to mess up everybody. We do understand where you are coming from, but that's something that we can look into, but we cannot promise that that will be the case, right? We were just right up front. We can promise. Now, speaking of that game schedules, please, it's a short tournament. Everything is booked ahead of time. There's some things where we can change a game and certain things where we say, man, you gotta play. We had a situation last year where one team had a wedding and expected us to switch the whole game, which was tough because one facility, referees, staffing, volunteers, like we really can't. So please, we are asking you ahead of time. The only time we can change a game for one or another reason is if somebody passed away in the community, maybe close to the team or something like that. We know nobody plans for that. But things like weddings, well, you know wedding is going to be August so-and-so. Plan yourself accordingly. Please, we're asking you. We don't want to run into that problem, right? So if you know whatever is happening, and the earlier you tell us, you're like, oh, maybe we'd rather play at 3 p.m. on July, maybe 20th, rather than 6 p.m. because we have, this is happening in the community. You guys know, we can say, okay, play at 6 rather than 3 p.m. We will not schedule you to come play a Monday game because you don't want to play on Saturday or Sunday. Unfortunately, that will not happen because of the field availability. We only have few soccer fields here that are available that are good in Winnipeg. We're limited, and these things get booked up ahead of time. In case of rain, discuss management. If it rains in the middle of your game or before your game and the referee calls up, say, hey, we can't play because of lightning, tell your team, any team on this call, please, we ask you, unfortunately, we cannot reschedule it for a following weekend because every weekend it's already planned. So we may ask you that pick a day in the middle of the week, Monday to Friday. Your team must be able to play if that's the case. Now, for the past 4 years, 5 years, we have never had a case where we reschedule a game because of rain or because of lightning or thunderstorm, right? So that has never happened before. But I just want us to be aware of those situations. In case it rains, we may need to reschedule a game on one of the weekdays. And that will be the agreement between two teams. We will not pick a day. We'll ask your teams to go meet and figure out, can both teams agree to play on Thursday, maybe at 7 p.m. or 8 p.m. or 10 p.m. Then if both teams agree, then we make those arrangements and make it happen, right? But Saturday and Sunday is one thing that we are guaranteeing you, and hopefully there will not be rain. And that's the other reason why we went on a tough field. In case it rained on a tough field after 2 hours, 3 hours, it should be good to go rather than grass field. Yeah, 60%, June 24th, again, these rules. There's punishment for using players that are not registered, players that have not been on your roster, and then you bring them. There is a forfeit and there's a fine to that. Red cards, there is a fine to that. And all of these are in your tournament package. Now, the biggest, most important thing is discipline, right? Discipline. Please, one of the most important thing, and fixing game. You forfeit a game because you want X team or you want to meet another team. Let's say you are going to play Nigeria and all of a sudden you're like, if I win this game, that means I'm playing, and you choose to fix a game. It happens in soccer. We see it. It's not acceptable. We do have fines for that, right? Because everything is already paid for. A team that fails to show up because they don't want to show up because they want to fix a game, everything is already paid for. Referees, you're wasting everybody's resource. It's not acceptable. Now, the other thing that for whatever reason, what else is there? Okay, notice in regards to changes. Disciplinary committee. One of the most important things this year to include every community in a say on how we should govern the tournament. You know, we have decided to come up with a new ways to appoint. We do request every team to appoint at least one person. It could be elder of your community. It could be somebody that is not a player, and we prefer somebody who's not a coach, who will speak for the best interest of your community. We had an incident where we're trying to have a discipline, whatever, of one community. One will say, oh, Seydou, because he's Ghanaian, that's why he's letting this slide. Gode, because he's from this country, is letting it slide. Oh, this and that. So this is something that I spoke to some of you already, that we do request every community, every team to appoint one person. So in case there is a fight, and I say, hey, there's a fight between Egypt, what do you think is a fair penalty? It's not going to be my decision. It may be a fight with Congo. Maybe I may be biased as the president to say, you know what, I feel we should just kick out Team Egypt for one or another reason. If we had a committee, it will deal with that with no biases, without one of the people influencing the decision. So please think of somebody that you respect highly in a community that will know that, hey, if this is what happening, this is what we'll do. South Sudan already gave us the contact of the person they are appointing who will speak for the best interest of them, but also the best interest of the African community at large. So that's my to-do list for you guys. Think of somebody. You can send the contact phone number to Seydou. Ideally, we don't want it to be a player or either a coach. If you don't have anybody, you can use your coach just to make sure that when we're making tough decisions about discipline or about something that happened and we need to, please, we will make sure that that is done fairly and that committee will vote. That committee will make the decision, not the organization. It will be that committee which will be made out of each and every one of you guys. So think of that. Disciplinary committee, all of this it's in there. Discipline, fights. Please, I'm begging you, each and every one of you guys, please, the last thing we want to see is fighting. I've been a player, game get intense, and everything. People exchange words. It's part of it. But exchanging fists and legs and things like that is not acceptable. Many of you already have children. You have nieces, nephews, grandmothers, everybody that comes to watch these games. The last thing we want to see is one African community fighting another African community. We know what happens. Why people, they pull out their devices, their cell phones, and what they do is capture. The world, they will say, is African people fighting. They won't say what was the reason. We don't want to see that happening. We want a competitive game, but at the same time, hey, people exchange words, things like that. But exchanging, slaps, fists, and things like that it's not acceptable. And we are taking a very strong stand on this for following reason. Some referees, they don't want to come officiate at African Cup of Nations because they say it's a ghetto league, to say, hey, these guys are always fighting. They have no respect for us if we don't put things in place. Two, the facilities like Winnipeg Soccer Federation, which is a rough Cantafion Shaughnessy, they don't want to associate with a brand that if we're bringing violence to their property, they will come to a point they say, you know what, we can't rent to African Cup of Nations. Then we'll end up start playing on a grass field where it's not painted, where it's hard, where it's all of that. It ruins the competition for everybody. Thirdly, it's an assault, man. We're in Canada. I punch Brother Michael. Brother Michael can make an assault and make a report to police, and I can face some serious charges, even though it was a soccer game. We need to think about our decision. Encourage your players, encourage your teammates to make sure that things like this does not happen. We are going to have a very strong stand. For last year, we had one particular community, I'm not going to mention the name, but has been fights and fights and fights. We have removed, it's not about you paying the $200 fine. It ruins that $200 fine, it ruins the image for everybody. It's not about money. We will kick your team off out of the tournament if we start seeing those kind of behavior. There will be no refund given. If one or two more players involved in a physical fight, we don't care what is the reason, because you always have a choice to move away, to say, you know what, I'm not going to engage. You step off, be a big person. Again, this is going to be a decision that we will take as an organization. We will kick and ban your community if we see any kind of a physical violence, especially fist fighting. Understand, guys, they push each other back and forth. Cut it off. Right? It's a part of a game. We see it on FIFA level. But also on FIFA level, we have seen teams that have been banned to participate in any FIFA competition because of their bad behavior. So please, please talk to your teams, to your captains, to your players. As coaches, you realize a player start acting bad or has a high temper, it's a intense game, pull him out. There's no need for him to ruin the game for your other 11 guys on the pitch because he wants to fight. There's no need for him to ruin the image of your community because he wants to fight. It doesn't worth it. It does not look good. We're telling you guys this front. We will suspend, we will ban a team that involved in a physical fighting. In the previous year, some people were like, hey, it's $200 fine. They're like, no problem. Until the facility, when we're trying to book facilities, they tell us, oh, you can't do this because you bring violence to our property. As people of color, racism is there already. They see us aggressive, angry, this and that. Let's not give them the reason to do so. We are here, we're fighting in unity, but in love and harmony for our communities as the African diaspora here in Winnipeg. Alcohol, please, again, don't bring alcohol, especially on the bench and things like that, because again, it's a private property that we're using. If it's smoking those heavy objects, you know what I mean, weed, whatever you name it, please, because we're going to have families there as well. We have little kids. It doesn't look good on us. It's a family event day. Regarding your benches, please clean up after yourselves. You leave garbage on your bench, we will send you a $50 fine because nobody's there. Nobody's getting paid to go clean up after benches after your game. There's going to be another team that is occupying your bench. The least you can do at the end of the game, pick up your stuff, throw it in. It'll take less than a minute so that the other team that is using your changing room or it's using the same bench that you are sitting on, it makes things much easier and much safe place for everyone. I think that is all for the tournament package. Now, the most important thing why I call for meeting, or the meeting why Seydou and our executive team at large call for meeting. Before I go to my last point of tonight, is there any questions regarding the tournament package about the fights? I know the rules are very harsh because we had to tighten up some things based on the reports that we were getting from people in the community, from the facilities, from people who want to sponsor the tournament, from the media, and all of those things. That's the reason why we are tightening up things to make sure it's a safe space for everyone and for communities.
Yeah, I have a question about the disciplinary committee.
Yes.
So the committee, I didn't get it clearly when you were mentioning it. Is it going to be composed of the leaders of the various teams, or you guys is going to be composed of the organizers?
No, leaders of various teams. It's you guys. It's not about us.
Okay.
It's about you. It's about the teams, you know what you want to see, but it's not about us. It's about you, teams. So please appoint somebody that you respect, that you say, okay, this person have moral values that we're trying to bring peace. Because the last thing we want to see, if we are the one appointing them and they made a tough decision against Team Ghana, then you'll be, hey, the organization had us. We have seen that in the past, but when it's the all African communities, they say, okay, this is the best interest. I think this is a fair decision for Ghana for this. Okay. Then it makes it, much better for everyone.
Yeah, because the reason why I asked is that you said the committee will be, is it a 5-man committee?
No, we can expand it. In the document, it says 5 men.
Okay, because I was a little confused on that because there's more teams, right? So
we will expand that. We'll expand that, yeah. Okay. Just to make sure every community has a say and they're well represented. If there's a case to appeal or there's anything, it's hard in front of others. So it's not us, but it's a committee that makes a decision.
Okay.
Is this these bylaws are they different from last year? If there's any ratification on these bylaws? That's one question. Secondly, if there's a ratification, like a new thing that was added on, like an amendment, are you going to send this template to all the teams, or did you already send it?
Some of this whole tournament package has been sent to all the teams, and if you need you to send you that, we will send it out again. The amendment about the disciplinary committee, we're still drafting it. As you appoint people, we'll review more into it in depth, which they can pass also down some of the, if there's any other new additional, because they will help us to develop that amendment so that, but this tournament package with the basic rules, it's sent to all the teams. And if you don't have it or you need us to send us a copy, please let us know. You can reach out to Seidu and can send it to you again to make sure that you have it. Any question regarding that before we go to the last point? Yeah. Seidu, please, at the end of the meeting, make sure you send it to Teams Zimbabwe. They haven't get a copy yet. So.
No, I think I sent it to them already. I already sent it to them.
Now, it put it in a group chat. Okay. Any other comments, questions? People from the organization, Seidu, Maria, Mess, anybody, anything that I missed that we needed to cover?
No, I don't know if you talk about the press conference, which is coming. Yeah. So, yeah, we want everybody to know. And also the press conference, we only need 2 representatives from the teams to attend. Not to bring 5 or 4, we only need 2 for each team to attend. So,
and that's a requirement. It's a must and an obligation, because on that press conference that's when you guys will do the ballot. You're picking who's playing who. The last thing we want to know is Ghana is not there and some random guy is speaking for Ghana, and Ghana end up getting maybe a pool of death, which is maybe you have Congo or you have Nigeria. Like, we don't want to do that. You will come, we'll have a draw, you pick the team, you open it, you show just the same way we see Champions League on FIFA. We want to make sure that it's you guys. So whatever team you pick, you show, okay, you're in Group D, this is the people in your Group D. So it's June 3rd. It's going to be a Saturday evening around, I think, 5 p.m. Those information will send out to you guys today or latest tomorrow. Plan yourself accordingly. One request that we ask is every team member or 2 people who are coming, come maybe with your top jersey. We want it to be colorful. We are going to have some government officials. So if you are from Ghana, wear just your top, right? You don't have to wear the whole kit and whatever. just your top, your jeans or your dress.
No soccer boots.
Yeah, no. If you have a match after, then it makes sense. If you're not going to practice after, it makes sense, right? But yeah, we want to make sure you're colorful, you are showing who you are representing, but also government officials will be there to take pictures with their communities to know, hey, this is the Ghanaian community. Come with your jersey, just the top, look representative, and I think that's what it will be. Regarding beanies on the day of the tournament, please, I think we'll be providing beanies for the guys who are sitting on the bench. For the teams who have already your own beanies, no problem. And if you need jerseys, you don't have a away jersey, we do have extra jerseys that we lend out to communities that are starting off. You can just borrow them. Just we ask you to keep them in good shape and return them at the end of the tournament. That's our only request. We'll send out more information about the tournament. About the press conference information. So figure out 2 people June 3rd. It's gonna be a Saturday at 5 p.m. and that should be roughly until like 6:30 the latest. So if you guys have soccer practices or friendly games, you can still go to that. Right. Lastly, the reason why we call for meeting was due to the growth of the organization, especially the tournament. We want you guys, we want your input and we want your thoughts. We are growing and also we are reaching our capacity as many people now are interested to participate in what we call the African Cup of Nations every single year. Now, the biggest challenge that we have had there in the past years, Congo and Nigeria, the finalists every single year. People, they say, we need competition. We need new thing. All communities, fans, and all of that. That's the reason why we have lifted up a little bit of our restrictions towards like how many players per each team. So just you can recruit more, talent. The other changes that we're hoping to see for the past 4 years, communities within African community, Black community, just in Manitoba, they all want to partake in what we call the Manitoba African Cup of Nations tournaments. Now, as the competition is growing, we also have to go and expand and to seek on ways that we can start including people small by small, but of course the tournament still remains to African Cup of Nations. Our initial goal for this year, we were supposed to reach up to 16 communities to participate, African. Now, of course, we have more than 16 African communities in Manitoba, but not all of them have up to 22 players. Some of them at the beginning, we had like 18 or 19 teams interested in African communities. Easy for tournament. But as we are trying to put things together and we are all excited, some communities are bigger than others, so the commitment level, it went down. In order for us to have a good competition, we at least need 16 communities. At the moment, I think we have, how many do we have, Seydou?
At the moment for African, we have 14.
We have 14 communities.
13, sorry, we have 13 communities.
We have 13 communities. And we do know the difficulties and the challenges of running a tournament with 13 communities. It just messes up everything, right? For anybody that ever played soccer trying to organize, but if you have 16 communities or 12 or 8 maybe or 4, it's much easier than having like a 14. Like how do you create a group stage? So we want to ask your permission as the African communities and also as people, as ways we were proposing and want your input. It's growing. The white people, they want to come see the African style, how we play football. The Brazilian, they want to come see how we play football. The East Indian community, they want to come see, partake how we do football. But of course, the tournament still African Cup of Nations. It's our pride. We built this. This is our organization as Africans. But in a situation that we find ourselves in, were not able to reach that perfect number. We were asking, is it okay to have guest team? We were proposing to have those maybe 2 or 3 guest team to make it the perfect 16. So it's much easier to run things. They are guest team, right? They are coming into our home as a guest to see how we do things, to share our culture, but they are guest teams. That's what we are proposing. What are your thoughts? And is that okay with you guys in order for us to have that perfect 16? Or because other than that, everything will be all over the place, and teams now will be who goes through, who make them, and we want to make sure that it is fair to have that for groups.
So I have a question on that. So is it certain? Is it completely clear that there's no more African teams that will be able to join?
It is clear. We have done our best, but if you know other African that you think, that's why we are even encouraging. Zimbabwe was able also to come in because they combined it with Zambia. So if we know other countries, like you say, that are very close to each other, maybe they speak same language. Like, for example, today, when we started, Cameroon and I think Ivory Coast was together, right? Just to start off. Eritrea, I think Sudan, when it came in, Eritrea was not there. They were all together just to start off, to give them the momentum. So we have tried to suggest that, to make sure that is African, to make sure, but we have not been able to, to
So at least you've exhausted all the African options at this point, right?
Yes, at this point. Okay. But if you know them and maybe we don't have their contact, that you feel that, hey, this is happening, because we don't have a big money to say, oh, we are doing advertisement on billboards all over Winnipeg. It will go based on word of mouth and people we know, and sometimes we get limited on who we know. So we have tried that and suggest teams to just come together, maybe Morocco and Egypt, if they are both can relate. But if so, we have tried to propose that. The max that we have reached is 13 communities. And it will not be fair to say, let's kick out one just to have 12, right? To say, hey, you get out, right? So that's what we're asking.
Yeah, and also like Gode mentioned, they're going to be guests. It's not like they are going to be coming there every year. If we have 16 teams next year, then there is no need for us to, maybe bring a team. But if there is also a possibility that we can bring guests, even if we have 16, then we can bring them. Then we can make it more competitive. And also, I've reached out to even like a lot of African communities. I've reached out to Sierra Leone. I've reached out to Somalia, and I've reached out to some communities. Like, most of them said they will get back to us, but they didn't get back to us. So try reaching out to them. Most of them are not responding to us, so which is very difficult for us. And also, I think Gode will touch on that. And also, like, we wanted to present this to you right now so that it doesn't have to be a surprise on a conference day. So you guys should know that we are open to you guys. We don't want to keep any secret from you guys. Then by the time of conference, then we will come and say, oh, we have, let's say, Portugal are coming in, and you guys didn't know about it. So that's why we are bringing it to your attention, so that we ask what you guys think about it, and if it is something that you think is going to make the tournament competitive, or if it's something that you guys think is going to, decrease the tournament, or what, like anything that you guys think like is going to, benefit or not benefit. So that's what I wanted to say, yeah.
I had one question though. And my question would be, what are the teams that are interested and that you guys have in mind to join as guests, basically? So what's the teams like? That's another question that I wanted to ask. Since you're offering that we're gonna have guests, so what's the guests and what's the options that we have?
So
okay, yeah.
Go ahead. Okay, so we have had some conversation with some of the guests, and we do understand. So the one that we are thinking was, okay, India, as some of you were able to participate against India during the Nations Cup. This Indo, The other one was Brazil, and some of you know Brazil. It's probably on the same skill level. We're not bringing an all-star team and boom, and it comes and just beats everyone and takes the whole African Cup of Nations. That's not the case. There are teams that are equivalent to many of you guys' skill level, even lower. So we do have team. Yeah, so it is India. Actually, we have 14 teams. We just need 2 teams to complete. I just double check. We have 14 teams, Africans or black teams. Haiti, we're considering them Africans, they're black. And the only thing that is there, so we had India in mind. I was talking to Brazil. Unfortunately, they could not put a team together for Brazil this year. But if we ever run into that maybe scenario next year, again, as guests, if we have 16 teams next year for African, we close up our doors. It's simple as that, right?
Yeah.
We don't need that, right? But the situation that we're finding ourselves in, that's the reason why we call this meeting to say. So it is India for sure. I don't know if India have gone back to you on that. Maybe we're going to think of one. Last year, we did the same thing about all nations. All we did was to take kids from some of them from our program that we coach in the inner city and just put them in there to fill in the gap. And we just gave them a country team, right? These are kids under 21. So they're just to give them opportunity. So they will come in like maybe Central Republic or whatever, but they are not there. And their kids are kids from Eritrea, Congo, whatever. If they are not playing for the other bigger side, right? They're just there to fill in that position so we can. So that's some of the proposition or some of the things that, and they are all African, matter of fact, right? To just try to fill in that position. So those are maybe the 2 teams, India and those kids. Some of you guys saw them in a indoor tournament. I know they made Congo to look bad because I'm just saying Nigeria just smacked them. It's like, no, you're not doing that once, right? So those were the 2 propositions.
And my other question would be, since you were trying to get like other players from younger generation from different countries, and you've mentioned that Congo and Nigeria can make another team, wouldn't it be best if you asked them to maybe possibly choose if they could make a team, since they have a bigger community than others, and give maybe younger players a chance to play since they have a lot of players?
That's a very good proposition.
President, I'm sorry to cut you out for a second. My colleague Abdul said he's trying to get into the meeting and he's still in waiting. So is there any way to let him in?
Yes, please. Yeah, no problem. Okay. Well, am I the one that's okay? Let me see what I can do here. Okay, where's everybody? Oh, let me see here. I'm seeing participants. I don't see anybody in the waiting room right now. Oh, I see him. No, I see him. My apologies.
Okay, thank you.
Brother Ishmael, that's a very good proposition. But now the other question, are those teams ready to also get another set of things? Now, let's say we have Nigeria B. Would they be still named Nigeria, or would we'll have to give them a different name? Now, that's my question to you.
Yeah, that's something I would say you probably would talk to the founder or the coach of Nigeria and proposition maybe a Nigeria B team, or even maybe another country that's very close to Nigeria, that they are comfortable enough to name themselves that way, and that way it can bring out more attention to Nigeria in this way, or Congo, matter of fact, because I know both of them have the biggest communities, in my opinion. So I was just giving an offer, maybe possibly they can both decide to make in one team, or even get the youth. In that way, the other younger players that want to compete and want to play, and their dreams to play for a national team end up coming true.
Before Goody answered, Abdul asked, what about Kenya? For Kenya, we have reached out to Kenya. So Kenya didn't have enough players to participate this year because some of their players have gone to their various countries to play for their team. So that's why they couldn't get a team this year. But yeah, we have reached out to Kenya, but they didn't got enough team.
And Coach Samuel, please, you can speak on their behalf. Maybe you can, if you are in a position of speaking.
Oh yeah, I've been listening here. I'm babysitting. Yeah, so it's actually true what Saidiwa has said. I mean, we have tried and tried and tried. So there is two scenarios to what is happening to Kenya. So most of the Kenyan boys that are here are students, and for some reason they love money more than the game. So most of them have taken off to
coach.
Most of them have taken off to British Columbia to plant trees. So we don't have enough guys to play. So Kenya is there, but you know, the administration arm, the coaching staff are there, but we don't have any more players to play. That's the problem with Kenya. Maybe it's a good time for them to, you know, take a bow and regroup. Maybe they will be stronger next year. Yeah.
Mr. Cedric, please, your comments, your suggestions regarding the proposition, or if you have a better solution. We're here for solutions.
Oh yeah, I was just following up on what Ishmael said. So like, if like two teams are supposed to like merge, since you are in Canada, you guys can maybe that team can be named Canada too. Like I don't think there is. I mean, I don't think there's any problem naming like two teams that merge together Canada, because you're in Canada too. So
and that could be a possibility, and that way would be an easy way to just fill in that position. Because if you say just Team Canada like that, it will be so quick, because we have a lot of players that have been reaching out. They want to join a team, but some of the teams, especially the teams like Congo and Nigeria, like they are packed already. They're like full, like, right? Maybe a team like Canada, it will be good, because we had some white people who say, oh, you know, we're okay, we have all these African, but we're in Canada. Who's representing Canada, right? And Canada is made up of anybody to promote that diversity and inclusion.
Yeah, I think that would be good, and you get a lot of support. You know, they like also like coming to support, and you know, so you can get some extra crown. So like it's also good.
But I think that the team, like you mentioned, I think Team India, they already have a team that is ready to go, right?
Oh, they've been playing. They play in MSL. They play in 3rd division and I think 4th division.
Gode, can you let Mark in?
I've been letting him in, and yes, he's not here in a waiting list, but I did let him in. Yeah, team like Team India, they are very well organized. Money is never their problem. We all know. So if it is to do something like that, Team India, because
I think it would make sense to invite a team that is already prepared and set to go. Versus trying to marshal people together because the tournament starts in 3 weeks, right?
In
a month, right? So it will make sense that at least to also give them that advantage that the other teams in the tournament who are already in the tournament, that advantage that we've had of organizing ourselves already and having trained together and all that. At least you would want that invitational team to also have had some level of training already and be prepared, so that they will be able to put up a good performance on the field as well. So I would rather go with that idea than just bringing in a bunch of people who might be good, but are they collectively as a team? Are they going to be able to play in a good collective way to make? Because I think as part of your package, you mentioned how you want to put up a good spectacle, right?
Yes.
So you would want to bring in a team that will add value to the tournament. So if you have a team that is already training, that is good, that already know themselves, and that is ready and raring to go, then why not invite them in and makes their job easy because they're already prepared and ready to play.
Brother Serge had a hand up, please. Brother Ishmael, you mind? He has had his hand up for some time. Let's hear some of his inputs, if you don't mind, and then you can go next.
Thank you for giving me the opportunity to express myself. Good day. I'll start by putting my idea, my opinion, like straightforward. I am okay with the idea of adding new teams or teams that are not from Africa. I am okay with the context. It's because of the situation. It's because of the context. That's my way of understanding it. It's because of the context that we're taking teams out of Africa, in quote. Having said that, we should also be ready to understand what we're giving up. We'll be losing the African spirit in this competition. We'll be losing the uniqueness of the competition. It'll be funny. It'll be funny if tomorrow at the end of the competition, India is the champion of the African Cup of Nations. It will not look good on the organization. Or Brazil is the champion of the African Cup of Nations. So we should see what we're giving up. Sometime maybe we should modify the name. Sometime, yeah. So we should see what we're giving up to take in these people. I am okay with it, viewing the context. We want it to be competitive. For the math, for the statistics and the draws, we want 16 teams. I am okay with it. Then if we're adding this team, I think during the press conference, we should present them as guest teams and we should put it into context. We should explain to people that we are accepting this team or these teams are joining us because so that tomorrow when India is champion, it will make sense that India is champion of the African Cup of Nations. Then having said that, what else did I want to put here? Yeah, it's basic on that particular point. That's what I'll say. I am accepting it on individual base, and I am accepting it because of the context. If it was not the context, I would have preferred it to be among all African states or African countries. And creating a second Nigerian team, creating a second, I don't know, whatsoever team, we should not also contradict ourselves. At the same time, we're saying that we want at least 60% of the count of the players to be from a particular country. So doubling, how will I say, if you tell a number of people, or if you tell Brazilians to create what team is not participating, I don't know, a Burkina Faso team, how many of them will be, like, are they going to meet the quota of 60% from Burkina Faso? So yeah, it's something very, it's not a simple issue. You have to weigh the for and the against, then make a decision. But me, I am for viewing the context. Thank you.
Thank you. That's
I have a question, Gode, or a comment here.
Yes.
What Sage is bringing up is very valid, and I think we should think about it very critically in some ways. Like, so for the context of Africa Cup of Nations, so we don't want one day, like Sage was saying, to say Brazil is the champion of the Africa Cup of Nations. Well, it's okay in Canada, but then it's not okay in the confederations, like, so it's a little contradictory. But what I can say is that the trade-off should be then, if some countries are willing to participate and they don't have enough people, or they don't have enough members or organization to be able to participate, can they give up their names then for those countries that are coming in as guests to use them as let's say India wants to come in, but then Kenya cannot participate. Can Kenya give up their name and say India will participate for the purposes of us having 16 teams, but then they will participate under Kenya who are not able to participate. But then Kenya are aware that India is participating on their behalf, but then it's not as India, but as Kenya. I don't know if that makes any sense.
Let me just say something on that point, Coach Samuel. The problem is that we'll have to remove the point or the article that says we need 60% to be national of the country. Like we said we were doing 60-40. So if you tell Indians to play with Kenya, with the Kenyan name, how far are we sure that there will be 60% of Kenyans in the Indian team?
Unless the organizers remove that requirement for invitational teams, for teams that are invited to play. Then if you remove that specific provision for those teams, then that rule would apply to those invitational teams. Is that an option? Is that a possibility?
For the invitation teams, I mean, that's something. So
we can scrap it, like someone is saying, we can just scrap that rule for those teams because they are not permanent teams for the tournament. Because next year they might not be invited anyway, right?
Yeah, go ahead, Coach Samuel.
Yeah, so I wasn't saying that so they will team up with Kenya. It's rather that Kenya was not able to participate, but they gave up their spot for India. But India will be participating, whatever composition of their team, but that team will be known as Kenya for the purposes of that is an African Cup of Nations. So all the nations that participated will be Africans, regardless of whoever players played in them. But then it's an issue of Congo this year, or like 2 years ago, Ghana was not able to participate. But because Ghana have a spot, if at that time we could have an arrangement and say, there is another team that's ready to participate, even though Ghana isn't ready, then we will give up that spot and Ghana will voluntarily give up the spot to that other team and say that that team participates in place of Ghana. So the name will be known as Ghana. And if they win, then it will be that Ghana won. It will not be that whatever team, whether it's Bolivia or England or Spain won. It will be Ghana won. So they gave up their spot. So and that is in the context of if we really want us to have 16 teams, or we want us to be able to have an easy way of making the competition structure, then if we have to get to 16 teams, then is it then an option for us to say we'll give up these two spots, and the countries that we had been looking for are Kenya, and the other one that was also supposed to participate was, let's say, I don't know who else bowed out of the maybe Somalia. So are we able now to say whatever teams that come into this competition will be known as those countries in terms of, for the purposes of protecting the image of the tournament?
But in that case, actually, it doesn't like, you're not talking about inviting anymore. You're just basically putting a different name, or basically just a name structure, right? But like on my end, I'm a little bit maybe different from the guys, giving like a different point of view, and I think like right now, internationally, like I think there are a lot of confederations that do invite other countries. Yes. Like Qatar, for example, was invited in I think the Confederation Cup in South America. I know that so it's not wrong. You show your diversity. We want, like as an association, you wanna actually increase the number. You wanna grow, and the only way to grow is to show the diversity. And people that are coming to play with you, it's not because they're like, you don't want to be strict, right? And then only, okay, no, I'm only looking at, like, it's fine if they're coming and we basically market that those invitations, right? You say, okay, like this year we had 14 teams from Africa and 2 teams invited, you know, and they're gonna have the privilege to play in this. There is not, I think there is nothing wrong about that. And if we have actually the numbers in hand, all African teams, that's fine. You know, like we don't need to invite people. But I mean, I don't think there is anything wrong with it. But like masking those teams. So what now? You're gonna have like a Kenya team or an Indian team playing with the Kenya name, but wearing Indian jersey. It doesn't make sense, right? So like it's either you're gonna invite or don't invite. You know, like that's just my point of view again. Sorry if I don't wanna.
No, thank you. That's very well thought of. And I do know there's a lot of hands. Tim Treyer, and then I think I'll go to Uncle Mark and then Cedric. But Mr. Amza, that's very well thought of because, yeah, I don't think that India will come in even if they participate. They are paying their money, they are sweating for their whatever, and then they want to say they are Team Kenya. I don't think so. It may be a little bit challenging in that context, you know, because now they are wearing India, they are being funded by the Indian community, and now they are putting on a badge on them to say, okay, you are Kenyan. I don't think so they will really play the same way or they will enjoy it the same way.
And it's up to the African teams to not make those teams as champions. That's what I'm gonna.
That's a challenge, right? Competition.
Exactly, right?
Don't be afraid of competition, right?
Man. Like we're gonna definitely not any African team. So. But sorry, like before I have actually to leave. I just had a question. Actually, we were talking about the 60-40% split, right? So we said basically 15 players from your
country.
So do they have to be from your country or do they have to be Africans? Because Ishmael was saying basically Africans, but he didn't like. What are we talking here? Is it like Africans? Any African country can play for any African team, or is it like it has to be like from your country? The second question that I have is that let's say you have 10 international players, okay? How many of those 10 players can play in a game? Because you can bring in like 10 players and they're all titular and all your 15 players that are basically let's say from your country are sitting in the bench. So is there any restrictions there or not? Because like it depends. Like, do you want to just fill up the roster with names, just to sit on the bench and then you have your all stars playing on the field? Or you need to have actually players from your country playing on the field? Those are the two questions that I have.
Those are very good questions. I don't know if Samuel or say you want to answer that question regarding, is it particularly, it's a good question. I think before it was supposed to be from there, but I don't know if there have been any changes. Maybe Seydou or Samuel can update us on that part. That part in regards if there's any changes that have happened. For me, I don't deal with the tournaments like the boots, but those 2-3 questions that you ask are very valid. Samuel or Seydou, one of you want to take over?
Yeah, I think I will dive in with the last one.
Okay.
And I'll just take it from where it was left. So we don't say that we don't control the number of players coming into the game in terms of who actually plays. I think that is a little hard for us to do, but we do have to say that the roster before it was 20 players and we moved it to 25. If now we are putting 60% of those should be from your country, then we don't have to decide again or make a restriction that that only 60%, only 40% of those players can play at a time. I think it will be a coach's discretion of who plays and who doesn't play. That is what I would say, because it will be very difficult for us now in the tournament when you're making the substitution, or even when the game starts now, to start counting, is this from your country, is this from, so that's very difficult for us. I think for us, it's just, the rule is to encourage the tournament or the organizers, community organizers, to tap more into their communities, so that they don't just make a team that is, you know, said to be this country, but now nobody comes from their country. So this tournament also taps into community development. So you want to be able to, out of the tournament, be able to be more invested into your community, know more of your people, get invested into your culture, and especially kids that grow up here. I mean, get to play with their countrymen and, you know, play for pride. But also, we do understand that not every country has all the numbers that they need to be able to put a team in. So for us, we did open that, but we are not going to actually push and say now we have to even have a 60-40 representation on the field. I think that's what I can say.
Yeah,
I wanted just...
Fair enough. Yeah, thank you very much. Because
Ishmael,
it's basically just the 60 on the roster, right? That's basically. I just want to have a clarification. Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Seydou, can you answer the other part of the question regarding what was it? Sorry, I'm having a...
Yeah. What's the second question you said? Sorry.
Yes.
The players have to be team or national, or can it just be just players from their country? Can it just be from any African team or just their country?
Yeah, so the question that was asked as is stepping out, was the 60%, does it have to be people from that country, or we mean 60% being Africans? It can be anybody from Africa, and just as long as there are 60% of them, and then they can pick the other 40% from the other side of the world or whatever it may be. Are we referring 60% being people from just the African continent, or 60% of them being from that country? That's the question, I believe.
Yeah, so the 60% of the African, the players that need to come from the African, like it's not like a strict one, but also we, like Simon mentioned at first, like we just want the teams to get involved in their community so that they can get some of the players in their country to also come and participate. So the 60% is for those who are from that country, but also we understand that most of these communities don't have enough players who can participate in the team. So we understand that, which is why we said, okay, just try and get 60% from your country for them to participate. Then the 40 can be non-Africans or can be Africans from a different country. So which is like the same thing with the 60%, but we want communities to get like more of their players who are from their country to participate in the tournament, because it helps the community as well, and also it helps our African communities at large. So that's what I don't know if I answer your question well.
Yes, thank you very much. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. We had Timothy Treya had a hand up for some time. We apologize for making you, Caleb, wait for a long period of time. Please make your thoughts. I know time is clocking. The meeting was supposed to end at 7:30. We're going over time. And I will just summarize the thing, and then we'll vote on it, and then we'll go from there regarding, is it guest team or the other side? Or the other side, all of those little things, unfortunately, we'll have to take a vote and they agree, are we going with this route or the other route? We don't always get what we want. We all have different opinions and thoughts. So we'll have to take a vote on that. And then I think we'll bring it to the end of the meeting. And if you have other follow-up questions individually, you can definitely reach out to myself or Seydou or Samuel or any of us, right? So Mr. Caleb, again, please take on.
Yeah, thank you. So just few points. The first one is, personally, I don't see any problem with having a guest team, just so we can fill up the space that we have left. I don't think we need more than 2 teams maximum, because it's either 16, 12 on those even numbers, right?
Yeah.
So if you can protect the integrity of the tournament by having no more than 2 teams when needed, not necessarily invite them for every tournament, but when needed to fill up the space, I see no problem with that. And the other point is the idea of having other teams, non-African countries, and using African names. I think that opens up a whole door, because then you have teams from different countries using African name, which is, Africa has more than 57 countries now. It might lose, 54 countries, 55, I don't know the exact number now, but it might lose the integrity. We might have non-African tournament with African names. So I do not agree with that idea. And the third point is the point of making teams from one country, like multiple teams from one country. I think that contradicts the idea of African nations. It's more of African teams now, because smaller teams will have disadvantage, because if you have, for instance, Nigeria has 3 teams, then Nigeria has how much percent to win the tournament, or Congo or Eritrea has multiple teams, then they have more chance of winning the tournament. So to protect the integrity of African nations, I think we should refrain from having countries from different places. We should only have them when needed. And the 60%, 40%, I think that's okay. If you have 60% of a country from that origin and having 40% from different origin, I see no problem with that. Thank you.
Thank you. I have now Mr. Serge's hand is up again, and we are hearing inputs. Just to also bring a little bit of history before, we had an incident that happened when one particular community tried to use another particular community name. So this is what happened. I'll bring you guys a little bit in history, and I'm not trying to persuade to say, hey, we should go this route or we should go this route. So there was an incident where a team used a community, and some players, matter of fact, they were from that community. I'll be very precise, was Congo-Brazzaville. We had some players from Congo-Brazzaville. We had players from Congo-Kinshasa. These people share borders. We have in that particular team, we had people from Congo-Brazzaville. And these people, they speak same language, same culture, same everything. The young people, they put the team together. He came and participated in a tournament when we were at Red River, I think 2020. After the tournament started, they played the first game, the second game. The leader of that particular community or that country said, you cannot use our name because we don't feel it's represented enough, or we don't like somebody else representing our name. So when we're thinking of maybe, inviting somebody to use somebody else's name, now you as coaches may agree on that point, but do the president of your own associations also agree on that point? Because when they go out there, if all of a sudden India start fighting, would we name them Kenya start fighting? I mean, they're not fighting for the flag now. They're not fighting for any purposes. They'll be like just dropping. But when they know they're coming in maybe as India or as whatever it may be, when they fight, they'll know, oh, this is Indian community or Indian team that came in African camp. They are the one fighting. So there's some of those things that I want us to be mindful of, because we have had this incident that happened like that before, despite the fact they had like 50% Congo-Brazzaville and Congo-Kinshasa, and the president literally almost scattered the whole game, called the police on us. This is serious. He called the police on us that we're using the national country flag for whatever it is. And the police came. It was a serious thing. We told him, no, it's just young people in the community that want to play soccer. And it was not a fun thing to deal with, because this was an elder person in the community. He was threatening us as the organization and also people who are organizing. So if there's anything, in my opinion, not voting for you guys, I would really highly suggest when teams come in to come in as their home country, or it doesn't matter if they're coming in as guests, but to come in with a name that they know at best fits them as guests. They know that they will put on also some kind of accountability on their behaviors, and also people who are sponsoring that, they are people from their community. That's just my 2 cents. Now we are back to Mr. Serge, and I see a lot of hands up. So we take, please, 30 seconds.
It was my turn first, though.
Okay, Mr. Cedric.
Yeah, I wanted to suggest something. So, like, instead of having, like, because a lot of people talk about the integrity of the African, like the names and all those kind of things. So, like, instead of like saying India or like probably Brazil or something, maybe we could say, like, we could use like other name. Some people said here like guest team. You could say, instead of using India, the name, you could just say maybe guest team 1, or the other team guest team 2, other team guest team 3, instead of using like the name, just in case they win the tournament, which will like spoil the integrity of the African Cup of Nations. So that's also like an idea I just wanted to suggest.
Ishmael, do you have any question? We have about 5 minutes max. So.
Yeah. I just want to go quickly. I just want to speak behalf of Egypt, right? As a team, as Egypt, we have a very small community, and it's probably one of the smallest communities here in Africa and here in Manitoba. Especially, it's very diverse. So in Egypt, it is very hard for me, myself, as a student, to get all the Egyptian community and try and get the Egyptians, because there's a lot of players that don't want to play. So I'm sitting in a situation where, do I make a team, right, and represent Egypt and get as many Egyptians as I can, and at the same time get as much as Africans that are close around Egypt, where are North Africans, maybe a bit of Arabs, that can represent Egypt and they're closer to the culture, or just say, hey, I don't want to play, and we're not making a team, and make the African Cup of Nations smaller than bigger. Right, because if every team is just going to be strictly by their country, it comes to a point where now there's smaller communities that can't participate, rather than opening up at the door, right? But at the end of the day, I'm following the rules about it. So I just wanted to clarify the things where, in the end of the day, I am following the rules, and I'm trying to get as much as possible. It's not like I don't want to have Egyptians in my team. I do want to. I'm trying, but in the end of the day, it's very hard for me, especially when there's players that don't want to play there, and I don't know a lot of players, and there's other things going on, right? So I decided to make a team that is Egyptians and North Africans that represent Egypt, that are closer to the Egyptian culture than any other African cultures. So that's basically the thing that I wanted to bring out, and I wanted to know if Gode and Samuel, as well as Seydou, accept that, because here's another issue.
Yeah, Ishmael. Yeah, I think.
Can I say something?
Yeah. Ishmael. Yeah, you talked to me about it. Yeah, I know. I know. This is what I was saying about. Some communities don't have a lot of players who are here in Manitoba, so that's why like we made it as 60-40 so that people can have a chance to participate in the tournament. So yeah, we understand those situations, but also we want a team to try and get engaged in their communities so that they can also get maybe they can get help from them as well. Maybe they may pay their registration fee. Maybe they know people who are playing soccer too as well, so that they can make enough. They can make the team to participate. But yeah, we understand there's not, some communities don't have a lot of population here, and yeah, which is very difficult. So, but yeah, I hope I hope we get in a place where we can get, like, a lot of these communities get involved in that, and yeah, so that we can make this tournament grow every year.
I guess you guys are running out of time.
Sorry.
Before Zimbabwe want to say something, so yeah, go ahead.
No, we just had a concern about when guest teams are coming in. When we say that we might allow guest teams to form their teams with other nations, and scrap maybe, or say scrap the rule where it has to be 60-40 for guest teams, does that not mean guest teams can just get the best players that they find and then they play us, in which case it's not really a league match anymore, it's almost like a club versus a country? That's my question. It's like I think guest teams would almost have like freedom to just take the cream of the crop when they're forming their teams, if they're not subjected to any of say similar rules that we are.
So like for the guest team, it's not like something that we're gonna bring guest team every year. It's just this year to fill in out, because we are looking for 16 teams, and we have reached out to a lot of the African communities, and they didn't get back to us. So it is very difficult from our end to find 16 teams, and we are trying our best. We did everything that we can to reach out to all these African communities. So there's some of you just responded to participate, but some of them, they didn't respond to us. So the guest team, if we have let's say if we have 16 teams next year, there's no need for us to bring guest team. It's just this year we just need the 16 teams to fill in the gap, to make it 16 teams, so that it can be also easier for us to do a ballot, to have 4 group teams.
I get that. My question is, what are their rules when they're forming their teams? Like, I think we need to make like very strong rules, so that either, like, say for example, someone gave the example where they said maybe Kenya and India we could try bring them together. And I'm saying, if you do something like that, it means most likely they'll just pick the best players from whichever side, and then they'll form almost like a club team. Whereas in countries where we have a 60-40 rule, it means you have to pick a number of people from one country, regardless of skill to some extent. Whereas they will likely get to pick teams with better skill, meaning their teams it won't necessarily be fair, if that makes sense.
It does make sense. The teams that we chose, like India, we note that it's 100% Indians. The other team that we proposed was Team Brazil. As some of you knew that in all nations tournaments, it was Team Nigeria and Team Brazil and India that were probably 100% from their own community. So that's something that we're also being mindful of to ensure, like, yeah, the idea of Team Canada, like, oh, bro, we saw what happened in the all nations, very competitive. And what are some of those restrictions, right? If we use some of our kids' program that we do coaching in a city, okay, Team Canada, we do know their weaknesses and their strength. They are not bringing all the superstars in a Premier League or maybe in a first division team and just forming a Team Canada, right? So that will not be the case.
Yeah.
Okay. I think
Can I have 1 minute?
Thank you.
Can I have 1 minute, Goody?
I think we had Brother Abdul up from, I think, Ghana, and you can go next if you don't mind. Please.
Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna leave because I'm working.
Yeah, you can go ahead. I can just say mine after this. Yeah.
Yeah, I have to wrap up my work. I'm sorry, guys. Sorry, Abdul, to cut you off. Yeah, I've been quiet all day since the start of our meeting. My name is Mark. Most of people call me Uncle Mark. We start this tournament since 2006. Dead and alive again, and we're still on it. I really appreciate all the participants today for their commitment and coming in for the meetings and then throwing very fruitful ideas for the future of our league. I'm not going to go far. In terms of the constitutions, I really agree with these bylaws that will guide all the teams. And if there's any problems, then, the team will take responsibility of what happened. On my observations, for the last 2 years that Sudanese or South Sudanese participate in the tournament, we set up the bylaws for the players, but we play in an open field, where there's no checkup to the field when the fans are coming into the field to watch the games. We don't have a checkup background. We don't have anything. But the way I have seen as an elder of this African community in Manitoba, particularly in South Sudan, is I have seen, a lot of some misbehaving during the last games, the last tournaments, and those misbehaving, we have to address these things on it. So when I just encounter the point of bringing the guests in from other continents, it gives me an idea, what if we don't manage ourselves, like we sometimes behave and start fighting, and then people are, because in North America here especially, or in the Western countries, Black people are known for the drugs. Black people are known for the violence. Okay, so if we have this kind of gathering to promote our sport, our talents, then we have to do it really, we have to be careful and do it really correctly so that our reputation will not go bad. So my point is, when we bring other teams in, yes, like Jamaica, we are all Black, but we are not in one culture. We are one color, but we are not one culture. Jamaican, they are Caribbeans, and we Africans, we are Africans. Even African itself, we divided, and politically, geographically, we divided. This say they are North, and these are East Africa, these are West, these are South, these are Central. That's how it is, and this is the mindset of colonization. But we have to take that mindset out and then come as one person, one continent. So are we going to control, because I seen some of the speakers early mentioned that if one of the guest country, for example, took the champions, is it gonna be, are we going? Is it gonna be really pleased to the other people? How am I gonna control it? So I want to bring this that is really a short discussion. So I would suggest that, can we pending it, we put it aside. We're not going to take it away, but we're going to put it aside, and then we're going to discuss, we're going to look into it. If we rush the decision now, and something's later on gonna happen, we're gonna blame ourselves. So I would say let's put aside and let's deal with what we have observed during the last tournament. Evaluation is most important. What went wrong and what do we need to improve? So generally, I'm not going to talk much, but these are the only little points that I want to bring into your attention. And I've been with the tournament. I've been coaching for over 20 years. I know I coach in a different communities. I even went to Hispanic League and I coach there, and I know how things goes. So based on my experience, I just want to bring this idea of bringing the guests, put them aside for now, and we have to discuss about it. First of all, bring the names, and that names, is it going to change, the title of African Canadian or Canadian Africans Cup of Manitoba? Is it going to change the names? And if they take a cup, for example, like others was stated, what cup are they taking it? What will be written on that? And is it going to be flexible for them, for their community? Because this is just a game, but when we go deeper, there's a lot of things going on. So I'm not going to take your time much, but this is really a really tough discussion. It need not even a Zoom. It need a really in-person meeting that we have to address it, and then we have to discuss it, and we have to debate it, and then we come with a decision. So from here, I'm not going to go. Everything goes good. We wish all of us to have a good tournament this year. We need to improve, and bring our children, get them into the future sport. From there, I will stop, and thank you very much.
Thank you, Mark. Thank you, Mark. That's a valid point, and we're gonna think about it, and also, like we said, we're gonna do the vote after this meeting. Then, we'll from there. So, our last, so Abdul, you are the last. Yes, you are the last person to answer the question now.
Yeah,
so
Mr. Caleb. Yes.
Yeah.
Let's Brother Abdul go. Mr. Caleb, I think we've given you some opportunity, because if we stay here again listening to, it's gonna be a little bit way longer.
Sorry, it was a mistake anyways. Thank you. Okay.
Yeah, so we sincerely apologize. Just before Brother Abdul go, so any misbehavior or misconduct that happens in the African Cup of Nations, it will carry on towards the All Nations tournament. If you get suspended in All Nations tournament next year, it will carry on. If vice versa, African Cup of Nations, it will carry on. If you get suspended, your team gets suspended, unfortunately, we will not allow you to participate in any of our, events that we are organizing, because it brings a bad, image for the rest of the African communities. Just be mindful of that. Any penalties, don't get stupid reds on the finals. You're like, oh, it won't carry on. It surely will carry on for the following competition. So, Brother Abdul, please go ahead. Then you got 1 minute, and this is just gonna vote, and we'll go from there.
Yeah, sure. Thanks so much, President. I will make mine very brief. So I would say the level of commitment throughout this discussion is shown, like how we are all talking about the need to ensure our name, like African unity, is actually progressing. I will actually reiterate that CACN are doing a very great job. As a community organizer, I know how difficult it is to bring together people, even under one team like Team Ghana. It's very difficult. And I know CACN is working so hard not to bring one team together, but to bring a lot of countries together, to play this tournament. So for some of us, we've seen some kind of progress for the past few years. We're having like 4 teams starting this whole tournament, and now we are even talking about 12, and we wanted to make it like 14 or 16. So, there's been a lot of discussion and very important points here, as I also do agree that we don't want to lose our identity as African Cup of Nations.
But I also still believe that we can still have guest teams. But this time around, I know there's been a lot of discussion about how we can call them. I personally would say it wouldn't be appropriate for us to, to name a guest team a different country. So, and there's been also another suggestion that we can just name them guest team A and B. We should also bear in mind that we are not just playing for fun. We are playing to represent our country, and we have a lot of community members who are supporting us. So if we are inviting Team India and we are telling them that they cannot use their name, indirectly, we are not actually inviting them to come and play. So what I believe, there've been a lot of suggestions. I know we are going to be voting shortly. We can still have Team India, but we will name them Guest Team India. Any person who sees our flyer, who goes to the website and see Guest Team India, knows that this particular team has been invited to play a tournament which belongs to Africans. So we can have Guest Team India, Guest Team Brazil. They can go ahead and win it. When that happens, then it's going to shake the African community to know that this particular tournament actually belongs to us. In as much as, like I said earlier on, I actually supported the ideas of we don't have to bring in some guest teams, but we are also trying to make sure that we have some enough team to make it very easy for the organizers to have this kind of balloting without any issue. We definitely always have the opportunity to invite some countries, but we cannot also, because they are also going to have some level of commitment, and we don't need to also scrap the rules that is governing the whole MACN, saying that when we invite them, they are not going to also have this system enforced. They are going to have the same thing, but in this case, we definitely want to also make their commitments recognized in terms of having their names. But instead of they having like Team Ghana or Team Nigeria, we will add a guest team Nigeria, guest team India or guest team Brazil. Because whatever decision that we make today, fortunately or unfortunately, is going to lead us into our subsequent tournaments. So, we have to be very careful in doing this. And if we can actually put it somewhere that the maximum number of guest teams that you can have per tournament, I'm not saying that we need to have it the maximum, so that in future, we will be having a lot of guest teams coming on board. Because if you say, like, we can have a maximum of 2, representing or, joining us in a tournament, then it means that, because I do believe that when other countries outside Africa get to know that India or Brazil participated in African Cup of Nations, they'll be knocking on our door. But we have to make sure that this is what we are doing, because we need some guest team to fill up our position. But whether, guest team A or guest team B wins the tournament, I don't think necessarily it's going to take the whole idea of African Cup of Nations from us, because everyone will know that they are guests, they came, they played well, and they won African Cup of Nations. But the name will still be Guest Team India or Guest Team Brazil. So I'll end so mine wouldn't necessarily be a question, but a suggestion. Thank you. Okay.
Thank you so much, everybody. This is some valuable information. We greatly appreciate your input, your thoughts, energy. We hear a lot of good angles to look at it. And this is where we are trying to think. I think Miriam has put in a vote in a link. So you just have to vote. You click on a link. Let me look at it first, so that you just have to click on it, and then you just kind of, I think you need to do permission, right, Miriam? You will do it. Yes, just yes. Yes,
it says we need permission.
Yeah, so we'll give you an access. We're all going to vote randomly, and we'll be able to share those as soon as before we even leave. We'll come to have, and then those little things that they are Team India, I think majority of people. So those votes, it will not be, it's just anonymous. You just vote what you believe, and then we'll bring up the results in less than a minute. So please, Miriam, can you give permission so that everybody can vote? Especially the organization team. So please vote, and we'll know which teams are present while they are voting. So Zimbabwe, we have Eritrea, Ivory Coast, Cameroon, Ghana, South Sudan, Egypt, Rwanda, I think, and yeah. So, is it working now? Okay, let me look at it. Okay, try contacting the owner if you think.
Is the link working for everybody?
The owner can only be used by users of the organization. Oh, so something like that.
It's not working for me.
Yeah,
Okay.
not yet. I think we still need permission.
It's asking for email.
Okay, no worries.
I go to setting over there. Setting, so go here and then allow responses from everyone.
Response.
Yeah. So.
Sorry, I have a,
there's no need. There's no need.
I think
it's working now. It's working now. I assume it should be working now. Yes, that is it. So please go ahead. You can do your own votes. The link is in the bio. It just takes a minute to vote. I will ask say, do someone, but myself, Messager Miriam, not to partake in this vote.
Yo, hi, Gode.
Yes.
Whose email do we use to sign in?
It should work.
It should be able to work. Just click it. It should be able to work.
Yeah, you don't need an email. Just submit your response and to go.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Let us know when you're done. I think it's just maybe 30 seconds task.
Yeah, I just cast my vote. It's pretty straightforward.
Thank you.
The second link, use the second link. Neither will work. I saw it. Each will work.
Yeah.
But I mean, if they are not here, it is very hard. We can try to send them a link. I don't know how that will work now as well. We don't want to go a link. We want the people who are present. That's what we call for these meetings, and are very important. So,
yeah, and I also think it wouldn't be, appropriate for someone who is not in the meeting to vote.
Yes.
The idea is that what are they voting for? They
don't even know.
Well, yeah, what we are voting for, it is gonna have an issue with.
I mean, we already have a quorum, right? So
nobody should vote twice.
Yeah, nobody should vote. Thank you. We'll know. Don't worry, we have IT support here. We'll know if you vote twice. Yeah, we have a quorum here, so this is all we need to make the decision.
Yeah.
Are you guys done? Done? I know Michael. Anybody else? Just give us a thumb up. We know that you're done.
Yeah, I voted already.
Okay, thank you. Thumb up whenever you're done, then we know that you're done.
Serge is done.
What's the link?
Everybody is done?
Where's the link?
Yep.
The link is in a chat. Look in a chat.
Yeah. So now everybody is votes. Did everybody voted?
Who has not yet voted?
I think we need to close the poll now because it's been more than 2 minutes since we opened the poll.
Who has not yet voted?
President, you are muted, so I don't know if you are speaking to us.
If everybody voted, we're going to close in 1 minute.
No, I think the time is up already. We are closing it in 5 seconds. Right? It doesn't take that long. Okay, thank you so much. Miriam, give us the results. Oh, let me mute myself.
So we have...
Mary, you are echoing.
So there's 9 total responses and 8 selected yes and only 1 voted no. So 88.9% voted yes.
Thank you.
And thank you so much. 89.9% voted yes, except 1 person. So we all know where we are heading. We do appreciate you guys taking time to meet with us this evening. We appreciate your input, your thoughts in order to build a strong communities here in Manitoba using the power of sports, the game of football. That's something we all love and we enjoy. Please stay tuned regarding upcoming, things June 3rd. We greatly appreciate your thoughts and input. We are here to support you with, if we have any other resources or any other, things that you need from us. We want to make sure that we build very good competition, and we want to make sure that everybody have fun and well represented. Please reach out to your people in your community. We want to see that who you can appoint on that disciplinary committee. It's very important that your voice is being heard and you're very well represented when making decisions. So thank you, everyone. Ishmael, if you have follow-up questions, you can follow up with Seydou. We have been here in the office for a very long time, and maybe that's by yourself, but I'll kick out everybody in the meeting, or people can start saying goodbye, and then we stay tuned and connected and hope to see you on Saturday again.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.